Welcome to Movie World, the place where we only talk movies. I'm Andy Signor, and I'm here to finally officially review Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, if you watched me over on Popcorn Planet, you saw my initial reaction. We got to see this back in August at CinemaCon, and I couldn't hide my love of it. I really had an amazing time with this film, and I'm so glad nothing was spoiled. I know some parts are starting to get spoiled, so be careful out there, but I really enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife, but I want to get a little bit more in depth as to why. The film is a sequel. It is a sequel to Ghostbusters. I think it's safe to admit that. I think you guys have figured that out. I think everyone sort of acknowledged that. This is a sequel reboot, if you will, in that it is establishing new characters, but its feet are grounded in the world we know and love from 1984's Ghostbusters. It's interesting because Ghostbusters 2 isn't really mentioned, but it's not really needed to. Ghostbusters 1 events are mentioned in the film. And why and how it's all connected, I'm not going to spoil and get into all of it. All I will tell you, though, is yes, the film is connected to the original and just the Ghostbusters in general. There is a connection, and I really enjoyed how they made that connection work. Look, the original Ghostbusters is definitely funnier. Is it scarier? I don't think Ghostbusters was scary for me. Maybe as a little kid. There are some spooky elements in the new one, but honestly, funnier, scarier. Maybe the original one still will win. I mean, if you put the two next to each other, the first one's still better. I'm not going to lie. Like, of course, the first one's better. However, this sequel does finally feel like a worthy installment to the Ghostbusters canon. It is just dealt with such respect. The characters, the cars, everything about it is done with respect, and you can tell Jason Reitman really wanted to do this right. This wasn't a, hey, let's just use the IP of Ghostbusters and put a bunch of funny ladies in it. No, this was clearly someone who cared about the tone, the feeling, the vibe of Ghostbusters, and tried to mimic it, but also make it its own. And I think that's really what ultimately worked for me. This film centers around these kids. It does. The film is around a bunch of kids, Finn Wolfhard and Mckenna Grace, who I thought was fantastic. Without a doubt, my favorite part of the movie is Mckenna Grace as Phoebe. There's this other, I forget this actor's name, who's playing Logan Kim. His character's name is Podcast, and he's out there recording everything with his microphone because he's always recording a podcast that no one's really listening to. And some of those theories obviously will play into the mystery of the movie and why they connect. Phoebe's a loner, an outsider, and doesn't have a lot of friends. They are forced to move into an old dilapidated house that is connected to the world of Ghostbusters in a way, and you will find out as the movie unfolds. But we meet Carrie, her name is in the film is Kaylee, played by Carrie Coon, who plays the daughter of someone that you'll know. And she has brought her family into this dilapidated house as she's sort of fumbling through her life, and her family, who wasn't really there for her, and the mysteries of that all unfold as we progress through the movie. But Finn Wolfhard, who plays Trevor, and Phoebe are the two kids sort of stuck in this new world of they're out of money, they're not doing very well, but they have this house. What are they going to do? Can they sell the house? What's the house about? Et cetera, et cetera. Paul Rudd plays their science teacher, and he's just a great addition to the film. He's a funny comedic relief, and he's Paul Rudd, as I always love when Paul Rudd shows up. There's just an energy, a funniness to him, a seriousness, a likableness that sort of surrounds him as he does these roles, and he slides into this universe so well, but it's not in the way you'd expect him to, which is also why I thought the film worked. He's there to add as you sort of would expect him to be, but he sort of plays a different type of character. Again, all of the tone of Ghostbusters felt like it was there. There's some really witty jokes, some clever jokes, some edgy stuff, some spooky imagery, some, tiptoeing through stuff, but it's also its own movie. I enjoyed this movie about these kids. Yes, it's grounded in nostalgia, and there's reasons to bring it up because of the old Ghostbusters film. However, I really appreciated the way that they brought those two lines connected as they crossed the streams, if you will. That's what I always wanted. I didn't like the original reboot because I just felt like they were the Paul Feig reboot, because I felt like they were just disrespecting the source material. They're like, yeah, we'll just bring all the old cast back and put them in stupid cameos and then just have a bunch of funny people running around doing funny stuff. And I never really even thought it was that funny. That was my biggest problem with the Ghostbusters Paul Feig film. It wasn't funny. This film's different. This film did make me laugh, but more often than not, I just had a smile on my face. I was invested in the ride. I wanted to see how the mystery was going to unfold. I wanted to see how it was going to end, and I was not disappointed by any stretch of the imagination. The film definitely relies on nostalgia. Without a doubt, there's a lot of nostalgia berries, member berries, sort of, they figure out ways to bring that in. However, again, I'm going to use the word respect over and over again. I feel like they did it respectfully. They did it in a way that, after the bad taste that Paul Feig's Ghostbusters left in my mouth, and I don't mean to keep just comparing it, but that one really, really disappointed me on a lot of levels. Not that I don't dislike anyone in that cast. I just thought it was a really lazy script, no real point, not funny enough, not scary, just a bunch of silly people yelling at each other, and just wasted use of the cast. It was really frustrating for me. This film brings them all back for a purpose, for a reason, and still manages to open up this universe to potentially have could be a smaller sort of chapter, if you will, to some other new things that open up because of the way they sort of handle it all. In fact, I will warn you again, there are 2 end credit scenes you'll want to watch. One mid-credit and one at the very end post-credit scene. Highly encourage you check them both out. Overall, I really was pleasantly surprised by this movie. Again, McKenna Grace and her character, which I don't want to give too much away. Some of you may have figured out some of what's going on. That character and the history there with her, really, I just loved it. I loved it, and everything about her character makes sense. You're rooting for her. You enjoy watching her not have the friends, and when you realize who she comes from, you realize it makes more sense that way as the story unfolds. It's a really wonderful homage to, and respectful tribute, if you will, to the original Ghostbusters, and particularly a character. It's really well done. I really enjoyed her. I smiled. I was happy. It's just a really fun, exciting, well-made movie. Looks good cinematically. It looked good from a music standpoint. It hits all the right cues while also introducing some new moments. It just has the feel of a Ghostbusters film, and that's what I was so excited about. And it still has that magic. There's a magic to this film, even though it's sort of grounded in this small town. They still manage to surprise you in ways and have that Ghostbusters magic that I was so happy was there. But again, they still managed to do it in its own way. Overall, I definitely recommend you seeing Ghostbusters Afterlife. It is a wonderful, respectful story that keeps the original alive while moving on to do its own thing, but not afraid to make some big swings at things you'll want to see and hope to see. You won't be disappointed. Ghostbusters Afterlife is a sequel reboot done right, in my opinion. They gave me what I wanted. I was excited to see what I wanted, and I'm excited to see where else it could go. And that's rare these days in these reboots. And you can tell there was just a family feeling throughout the set because, again, this film was made by Jason Reitman, Ivan Reitman's son, who made the first Ghostbusters. For him to come back and see Jason now, who's been a fantastic director in his own right, have to step back into the shoes of his father and this cast and do a respectful movie that was such an integral part of him growing up, you can just feel all of that there. It's there. I don't know who else could have done this right to have that energy and that feeling of Ghostbusters than Jason Reitman, who's grown up his whole life with Ghostbusters in his shadow. He was there as a kid on that set, and I'm sure the legacy of his dad and Ghostbusters looms over him every day. So for him to be able to come in swinging and deliver on the pitch, and on the swing, I guess, the hit, I'm bad at baseball. I'll stick to movies. But for him to be able to deliver such a home run with this one was such a nice surprise. And I was, like I said when I left, I can't wait to see it again. I can't wait to take my family. It's not too scary where I'm worried about my kids being scared, but it's more grown up than being a stupid kids movie with kids running around. I really learned how to walk in the buckets it was and the genres it is while still feeling like a Ghostbusters film and respecting the canon. So bravo to the team. I'm excited for you guys to see it. I'm sure there will be people who will not be as jazzed as I was that will complain about certain things as you watch it, just like some are complaining about Bond, which I don't understand. I really, really did enjoy how this film out, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'm surprised the embargo's already out. The film doesn't open until November, so stay tuned. Get your tickets. Watch this one in the theater if you can. I assure you the crowd's going to enjoy enjoy it, you're going to enjoy it, and I can't wait to discuss it with you after you watch it. So please make sure you check out Ghostbusters Afterlife in theaters, a nice homage sequel to the original and a good film in its own right. Make sure to subscribe here for more movie reviews, movie content coming here to Movie World, hitting the bell to all alerts, smashing that like button, and all that jazz. Thank you guys so much for watching here. Stay tuned for more movie coverage coming here only to Movie World.